I think.
Are we good?
Yeah.
We got a
now
couple
it
minutes
goes in
here? A minute?
broadcast.
We
2
need,
minutes?
we need a couple minutes.
So now.
I'll check it on my computer too.
Yeah,
It's
so now,
live stream, right?
it's this one,
Oh.
schedule, Nashville's.
It have a good
Walton,
topic?
Account. So I'll slide down.
All right, thank you. It's that sliding thing I can't get straight.
Yeah.
Wait till next month, I know. Thank you for warming up.
Yeah, It is working on a computer.
Okay.
So it sounds good, everything looks good.
Just everyone, please remember to talk into the microphones.
Oh, okay.
That's usually when we get the comments.
Angela's actually on vacation. She won't be here. What do you mean by that? Have you been reading the journal?
Heading in the right direction.
Good. But I could, other business, I can give a little synopsis, but I'm having my morning meeting with the mayor, of course, coming up, soon, in July, so I can even give more on that. Well, let's get through our meeting and maybe under other business, I can. No, it's actually going great. Going good, going really good. Actually, they're gonna be coming to a planning commission meeting for preliminary plans. They're gonna build a building this year. So, if we approve it. All right, everybody ready? It's
Yep.
7 o'clock. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Council good?
Yep.
yeah, she actually.
Like to call to order the regular council meeting of Tuesday, June 21st, 2022 at 7 p.m. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Okay. I will do the roll call today. Jennifer Allen,
Here.
Mary Brenner Miller,
Here.
Fred Nielsen,
Here.
Raymond Whedon. Present. Brian Spitznagel,
Here.
all of council present, along with our law solicitor, John Montello, and myself. Angela's on vacation. Okay. Any persons having business before council? Okay, and we're given a five-minute limit. Come on up, Frank, and just give your name and address and.
Name is Frank DeMarco, 14107 Ryan Drive. I have a petition here signed by 119 residents. In addition to that, 4 sent their email okay. I'll read it, I'll be brief. Petition to cease the Walton Hills Village Administration plan to add basketball or pickleball equipment or markings to the part of T.G. Young Park, currently known as Walton Hills International Raceway. This will not only deface, ruin the racetrack, but it will actually destroy it because adding additional markings not related to racing radio-controlled cars will be confusing, not only to racers, but to the basketball or pickleball players, and any equipment added to the surface of the racetrack will interfere with the running of the cars. I will add that 2 of the signatures are from former council members. With your permission, I'd like to give this to the nearest councilman.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay? Thank you for your time.
Okay. Okay. Any other residents have anything? Yeah, Dave?
David Basso, 18817 Delwood Drive, Walton Hills. I have 2 issues. I don't have to have a reply. Action is louder than words. First one I have is, I don't understand how the city and the council is going to do something to the park that will destroy something. That's what I'm going to say. I know what's gonna happen, and it will destroy it. Now, that's that issue there. The second issue is, there's a home on my street, and you all know who it is, that does not belong to the person that lives there. And it's a disgraced yard in the front of the yard. If you want a junkyard, you put it in the back of the yard. And I know yous all know allowing it. I've lived in Parma, I lived in Cleveland, and I lived in Brecksville. That, I know what's gonna happen, and that's all I got to say. Whether you do something about it, it's not the person living there, it's the person that owns that house that decided, I don't wanna get into it, but they wanna put that person away from, and they're well-to-do. The family that owns that house is well-to-do and they got a business. They need to get over there and take care of the responsibility, because they wanna run our area down. I would buy their house, they got a nice house and a nice place in Ravenna. So that's all I got to say, and you know what it is, you go by it every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Any other residents have anything before? Yes, Dave. Another Dave.
Dave Washtalk at 7080 Hickory Drive. I didn't come here to petition or really get into anything, but when I heard his story, I have a house on my street that's been empty for a long time. I don't understand how I can live in a neighborhood, put up with something like that, and it doesn't get taken care of. I lived in Berea. We never had a thing like that. I lived in these other towns, and I never had this experience. And to have a empty home, I don't care what the conditions are or why it got there, but it shouldn't be left that way. And the village should have a responsibility, the other residents, for allowing that to exist. Thank you.
Any other residents have any?
Had the water main break like a little over a year ago that was right between mine and Helen Ann's house. And they came and they dug it up, but when they filled it back in and then put grass over it, since then it's sunk about a foot. So trying to ride my lawnmower over it, it's literally like there, and it's kind of a sharp edge. And all I want is, I don't know who's supposed to fix that, but if they just dumped the topsoil and enough to fill that up, I would take care of it. I just don't want to keep riding my lawnmower because I ride into that crater because I have property on the other side of the creek. And I have to drive on Helen Ann's property to get over there. So every time I go in there, my deck, I can't raise it high enough, and it's like trying to go up a curb. So if they could just deliver the soil, or who, I don't know if it's City of Cleveland because it was their water main, or I don't know who's supposed to provide that soil, but if they would at least provide it, I would level it out and plant grass or something.
I'll comment, I'm gonna comment on all, but I'll comment on yours since you're standing right there too. What happens a lot of times with the water or the sewer, they are responsible for restoring it, okay? A lot of times we restore it in-house, you know, Rob and his crew. So I'll have Rob take a look at it.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if it was supposed to be Rob or, you know, when you said they're supposed to restore it, who?
Well, if it was the water main, then it would be the water department. If it was a sewer break, then it would be the sewer
Right,
department.
it was a water main.
Then it would be the water department. Whoever made the repair, sometimes the water department uses a third, you know, uses a contractor, you know, for some of their repairs. But whoever thing they're, you know, they gotta restore it. And you know, different than when we do a road, you know, let's say when we did Dunham Road and our engineer went out there actually for every apron, measured mailboxes, they have to put it right back. So we'll take a look at it.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
so that wasn't Rob Kalman's job, right?
No, it's
Okay,
not,
'cause I know
No,
that
it's not.
that wouldn't be
No.
like him, I think he's
No, no, no.
Pretty good stuff.
What, the reason a lot of times, because they go on the list, restoration, or they'll tell us if the repair was done in the winter, we gotta wait till spring to plant grass and stuff, and we're on the list. So a lot of times it's just easier for us to do it in-house.
Okay,
And so we do a lot of projects, small things like that, depending on the size too,
okay.
you know, because we do want to make the residents happy, so.
Yeah,
That's-
I just.
But that's, so that, the reason I say that, it's not uncommon to see our guys doing that, so.
Okay,
So,
all right.
and then we do bill them.
Oh,
We
okay,
do,
good.
we do bill them too, so,
Right.
because we can't use village funds, so we. Not that we always get paid right away either, that's another, fill it in, it's all new dirt, and they get the dips, so I'll have the engineers look at that. And they'll, also, they're gonna be repaving that, so we'll be over there. We're actually passing tonight legislation to award that contract for Hickory, Tulip, and Chestnut, repaving over there. We replaced the water line, and now we're gonna repave that development. So that's on tonight. The other, no problem, I'll let them know that. Come on up to the mic, give your name.
Brian.
Dave Basso, 18817 Delwood Drive, Walton Hills. I'm just curious, this money that the government's handing out and the state, are we going to get any of it?
We've gotten money already, Dave.
That's the only question.
Yeah, no, we applied, believe me, we applied for, in fact, I'll probably put in the journal some, the grants we've been getting and different things. We've probably got more grants in the last year that this village has ever received, so.
I was
yeah.
curious about that. Everyone else seems to be cashing in, and I don't know.
Oh,
why
no,
we
we-
can't get some.
Believe me,
All right, thank you.
yeah.
We're just getting a very pixelated picture, Mr. Mayor and stuff, and a couple of people have said that the quality wasn't great, so I just wanted to see if we could clear it real quick here.
We can wait.
Yeah, nothing we're gonna do here now is gonna fix it, because this is hardwired, it's not over the Wi-Fi, so I don't know why it's doing this. We'll have to
There's
call
something
SOAR.
underneath.
I think they was doing that last week also.
Yeah.
Sign the petition, and I'm not going to get no debate, understands the whole issue, because that's the important thing. You need to know both sides of everything before you make an educated decision. And if you still feel the same way, that's fine. That's no different than anything, no different than voting for somebody. You want to hear the pros and cons and see where you line up, and then a lot of residents have been saying you need to have more committee meetings, you need to have more recreation meetings, all just committee meetings all together. Now, in my 19 years, done it both ways. We've had separate committee meetings, we've had committee meetings inside council of the whole. I've seen it both ways. I understand the reasoning for having separate meetings, I understand the reasoning why they put them in the committee of the whole, because then all of council was present, instead of having the committee, you know, educate the other three at the time when there were 6. But regardless of that, this council reacted and said, okay, we're going to start having more meetings. And some residents said, we also want to do surveys. We want a survey so we want our residents to tell us what they want. Recreation at the park, events at the event center. What do they want when it comes to recreation and services out of community life and recreation? That whole department, you know, so it wasn't just the park, it was a little bit of everything that comes out of that department that Natalie Buck manages. And so, as you know, there was a survey that went into 2 journals, 2 months, okay, which residents were able to respond to, okay? So it wasn't that nobody knew, it wasn't, you know, snuck in somewhere. It was in 2-month issues. And in fact, the results of that survey will be coming out in this issue for July. And that Recreation Committee got the response from that survey. And overwhelmingly out of that survey was basketball and pickleball courts from the residents that got surveyed. And they responded to the survey. Okay? What I know as mayor is no one was ever going to take away the racetrack, destroy the racetrack. Was just asking them that we were going to put a basketball court on one side, stripe the lines, and have it be a dual-purpose facility there. Until, as we move forward and maybe receive some money, in fact, our state rep, I got a notice from him, we applied for $48,000. That's going through the process. We'll be able to improve our tennis courts, our basketball court, and our other facilities down there. Me as mayor was just asking for cooperation, not to destroy anything. In fact, this council even said, so I just want to know, and that's fine, if that part of the story was given to everybody that signed the petition, and they still feel that way, well, I understand that. But if they weren't told the whole story, because I had a lot of people come up to me and said, I didn't know that they could use it 1 to 4, and that you would give them a separate day. I'm trying to get that day at the lake for me and my family, every Sunday, 4 hours at the lake, as a paid member. So far, they haven't given me that answer. That's all. That's all. And all I asked from all those individuals was to work, no, Dave, I'm going to finish, just to work with me as mayor. Because as the mayor, I'm the one who has to go down with the service department and make it work. I don't want to. Why in this position would I want to upset residents? There's no reason for it. I even said that when we go down there to do it, I would call those people, and they can come down there, and we would work it out together. I'm not going to do that. I mean, and what I'm saying is I wanted to do that, and I didn't get no response. I will say this. I'm just going to read an email I received. I won't mention the person's name, but I will read it in the record here because it kind of sums up what, as a mayor, you try to work with everybody. And so I received an email asking me to meet certain days and certain times, okay? And I looked at those, and I couldn't make them. So I responded. At the Committee of the Whole meeting on June 7, 2022 at 7 p.m., we discussed the Raceway under item 6, other business, and I answered all questions. Meetings are live streamed and available for everyone's review. I have attached above emails from June 3rd, that's another thing, and I put, I can be available to meet with you later next week at Village Hall. I will forward you a day and a time. You know what my answer was? Let's not waste our time. So if it's something different, Dave, or you can say, I'm not going to get in debate. My important thing is, because I want everybody to be happy, is because I'm the one who's going to end up making it all work, okay? Here's the point I want to make. It's a shame, okay? I'm disappointed that there isn't cooperation. And I'll continue, I'll continue, and if, council decides, or we decide it doesn't happen, okay, and that stays there, okay, and we can't cooperate, and other people can't play basketball, What about them? That's a shame. That's, so, you know, so it just, anybody, council, have anything to say? Anybody wants to comment?
Mr. Mayor, there is a
Yes.
comment online from Crystal Greenwell. It said, and I'm only bringing this up because Brian, I believe you may have the numbers. How many people responded to the survey and what percentage voted for basketball? Basketball, I can say, was the overwhelmingly number one
Yeah.
item that was requested on there.
I think between the internet and the paper survey was 84 people, and I believe 40 to 60, oh, I'm sorry, 84 total, I believe it was, and between 40 and 60 requested a basketball.
Yeah, Dave, but here's the thing that council has in front of them, okay? No, I'm not done yet. You have 2,400 residents, correct? You had, Frank, how many signed the petition?
119 physical signatures, 4 emails.
All residents? Okay. And we had 88 residents that did the survey, okay? So what do you do there as a council member? You say that those numbers those count, you do what they say and you ignore the 88? I don't feel that way as mayor. I think they're both important.
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor?
David has, I'm just talking to us here at the body. It's not you individually, Dave. I was just explaining to everybody, to residents that are listening, that maybe want to listen down the road, that, sign the petition.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Me personally, I'm not giving that thing any credence. And the reason why is because it says it's going to ruin the Raceway. We have no intention of ruining the Raceway. The individual, the main individual doesn't want 1 inch of that area infringed upon, period. I have no idea what he told people. And it means nothing to me. We are, as far as I'm concerned, we have talked about going ahead and doing that, ordering that, the hoop next week, and that's, I hope that gets accomplished and get it done and over with. And if they don't want to use their racetrack on Sundays anymore, then paint it over, paint it black. I don't care anymore. It's absolutely ridiculous what one. Mr. Mayor, I'm going to call this resident out of order, and I'd like to have him removed if he continues to speak. I don't even know what he's saying, but he can't do that in our meeting. This is our meeting.
Any residents? Dave, did you have something you wanted to say? Yeah.
Dave Basso, 18817 Delwood Drive, Walton Hills Drive. I know these guys had this racetrack, and I know the city wants to do something. What I foresee, and this is what I foresee, nothing but problems. So I want you to tell me, which, whatever you do, are you gonna police the situation? There's gonna be a situation, because I know how people are. People want something, I know how people.
And 119 people that go
Let
down.
me ask you this question.
I don't want to go back and forth.
I'm going back.
Dave, we're not,
You
make
play
your statement.
basketball and you dirtied up the place and everything, who's gonna clean it up? Now they get mad. I'm telling you, there's a window. It's as sure as heck a window. As sure as heck, that basketball court, I know how people are. They throw trash, they don't care, they destroy things. Now who's gonna handle that situation?
well, we would handle it no different than any situation down there, the police would handle it. Or our auxiliary, no different.
Well, I hope so. I don't wanna see no.
Mr. Mayor,
Well,
Mr. Mayor,
yes, go ahead.
I'll tell you what, if there's a problem, we'll put a lock on it and it's done. Done.
Well,
That'll solve it.
well,
Done.
we don't need to.
Dave, you want to know the sad part?
What's that?
You have said you need a transition.
You
You
do?
made that point.
You sure do.
I did nothing but beg for cooperation, right here in the dais, cooperation.
Well, you know.
And you know how sad it is?
No, you don't know. I know how sad it is because I live it every day.
I know, Dave, I know exactly where you live. You know that.
I went through a lot of stuff in my life. I
But
know
here,
how
I'm not going to debate. The point is, I had not one person that have said to me, Mayor, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see the two come together. I'd be willing to help you, Mayor. In fact, let's try it and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, Mayor, I'll be the first one to come to you. Not even that, not even an inch, not even an inch, saying, you know what, Mayor? You're trying to be that cooperative type mayor. You're trying to work with the body here, and guess what? As residents, we can't even work with you like this. Not even this. Not even this. That's where my frustration comes in. That is where my frustration comes in. I'm one of the biggest fans. I've probably been up to that park. Maybe there's probably only one person in this room that's been up at that park as much as me, and maybe 3. Okay, you know I go up there. Me and my wife go up there all the time and walk. I coach baseball there. I spend a lot of time. I know what's going on down there. Okay, I go there. I see who's there and who isn't there. Okay, but one person using that park is better than no people using that park. So I've been a fan of that and have pushed for that. I love the lake. I'm always part of that. I think what we have, our contract, that's important. Okay, I voted for that racetrack. I was on council at that time too. I've supported that. Supported it for 10 years. And all I have said is, okay, until we get things, which they're coming, they're right, they're happening. This is probably going to be, sorry. So I'll make it work. We'll do something, okay? But the intention to ruin something or wreck it or not allow those, I have never heard that since I've been at these meetings. Because guess what? If it comes down to me, it ain't going to happen. Okay? No one ever heard me say, you're out, you're in. That was never said. Listen to the tapes, watch the tapes, okay?
Let me tell you something. Do you know how disgusted I am when I see these flyers laying on the ground that people get for the city? Do you know how disgusted I am about that?
We all are.
We don't want to even get by. You know.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
Let's work on a peaceful transition. That's all I want.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
You didn't need this to do it. I asked, I even said, okay, I gave my reasons why I won't meet with some individuals alone. I spelled out more than I wanted to 2 meetings ago. Go listen to the tape. Okay? Stunk for me as a mayor. But guess what? It was the truth. No different than an email. You know, you can extend an olive branch, and you're only going to take it so many times getting broken in your hand. We have a job to do, and that is to provide recreation for everybody.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead, Jennifer.
I would just like to say that, and everyone in council here is well aware of that, due to an individual in relation to the racetrack, we now have a police presence at our council meetings.
But that has nothing to do with the decision of the racetrack. That has, the decision of the racetrack is, you got a petition from the people that said they want pickleball and basketball. Okay? Council reacts, okay, to what the people want, and people are upset. Important thing is, before anybody makes a decision, is they understand both sides of the story. That's the important part.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr.
Sir, can I ask you one question? Did you sign that petition? Okay,
And you weren't aware of
You
it.
just got done saying you were not aware of the entire story. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you.
One of the initial tallyings that we had on the survey showed 16 for baseball or basketball games. It showed 17 for pickleball, 13 for tennis, 20 for wineries.
There you go.
Just putting that out there. And radio-controlled cars, 2. That
And
was
we
the
won't-
initial survey.
I'm putting in the journal, the survey, it's, Mary's putting in there, but I didn't put in the comments. Because I'll tell you why, comments weren't nice. So, well, guess what? Because I know that, and when the results go in the journal, I also asked Mary to put the 2 dates that it was in the journal, the survey. So these are the results from the survey. You'll have the results in the July journal, and it will post the 2 journals the survey was in, so you could go back and look at the survey that was in the journal, and then you can look at the results. So that's just the closure to, you know, what council did and the information committee did. They, you know, so. I had to put 4 more pages in the journal. A lot of pictures and stuff, and the reason is just because we got such good stuff going on here. And if anybody has any other comments, anybody else have any comments before we move on? Because we do have legislation. Good. So I'm going to just end this to everybody that's in this room, to everybody that's listening, to the 110 people or whatever that signed the petition. Don't look at anything as negative. Our village is going in such a great direction. We received $10 million, not us, but the project, the Droff Group, which is DeGeronimo, Scanlon, and Weston, and we were co-applicants. $10 million from the state of Ohio. I'll read the announcement from DeWine. That will also be in the journal for the cleanup there, to clean that up. Okay? And why they're investing another $10 million in it, because, what's going to happen, because the state of Ohio knows we'll put $10 million there to clean it up, because guess what? They're going to put some jobs there. They don't invest in a project that's not going to work. That just happened. We are so excited about that. We never thought they'd get $10 million, a grant. That corner is happening. You probably drove by there today. You see more equipment there, more things going on. They're coming to the Planning Commission Wednesday, the 29th. So, okay. Karen's getting upset. But that's okay, Karen, because this is a form. Okay. So my point to everybody is, don't let that small thing like that drag us down. The negativity, that's a small thing that we're going to be able to fix. Okay? That is, first of all, that's not going away. Even if we put that basketball court in there, the people can still go up there, drive their cars. People can shoot their hoops. And then as the money comes in, we're going to make that a beautiful park. That's our intentions. Yes, I'm going to go back to that. I caught that. So, any other comments, or anybody has anything? Council, anybody? Milan, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's,
Well, Mr. Mayor, you hit it on the head too. As money comes in and things like that happens, we may have the money to to put in a court somewhere else and do something else. I mean, this isn't set in stone. I mean, this is for now. I mean, let's relax a little bit. And nobody's taken anything away. Nobody.
One comment before we move on, a moment of silence. Dave, my whole life, I don't sweat the small stuff. And that's a small thing, okay? It's no different that every day in this position since 2015, people ask me, Councilman Colograph, what's going on with the Ford plant? When's that going to be developed? When's that going to be developed? First question. Even family members. Now it's happening. Nothing. Okay? People love the negative stuff, and I know that, but I ain't going to let that drag us down. This is going to be the #1 community to live in Cuyahoga County. It's the most beautiful. I don't think anyone can argue with that. It's the most beautiful. It has a national park. It has a metro park it borders. It's the most beautiful village or city in Cuyahoga County. Now we just need our revenue. Now we just need our tax base. And it's coming. And it's coming because of this council right here. It's coming because of the administration. It's coming because of everybody in this room who worked with everybody and said, hey, I'll pay a little more, okay? I know I got to pay my sewer bill. I hung in there just like you hung in there. You said, okay, and we're going to reap those benefits. They are right around the corner. So let's not sweat the small stuff. The young people are going to move here. Okay, so anybody else? Okay, we're going to go back to can I ask for a moment of silence for our deceased residents, Francis McConnell, Kenneth Olinsky, Jack Day, Alice Cotter, and Virginia Moe, and also for the people of the Ukraine. Thank you, everybody. Okay, I have the mayor's report. This is for the month of May. The Walton Hills Police Department issued 152 citations in the month of May. The predominant violation was expired plates, with 45 citations issued, followed by 23 issued for speed and 11 citations issued for driving under suspension. We had only one arrest for driving while under the influence of alcohol and drugs. We'd love to see 0 there, but one is better than some months. Thank you, Mr. Gervais, Sergeant Gervaisi. He helped keep us safe there. I got the monthly mayor's court report for May. Our total revenue for the month was $18,498.21. The year-to-date is $70,594.62. Year-to-date last year was $101,669.57. So we're down a little bit in court receipts. Okay, that's it. Council have any comments on anything before we move on with the legislation? Yes.
Members of the council, Mayor, I just have one question, and that's really for Mr. Montello, just so we can all be on one accord. And the question really is when our citizens present something like they presented tonight, is there a procedure or process or step that council should make to
but or maybe perhaps it may sway their decision process, but that doesn't sound like it's going to.
So for now, we recorded that it was presented, and
It'll be part of the record. Oh, yes, it'll be recorded, it'll be part of the minutes, it should be attached to the minutes, yes.
If you're referring to, Mr. Whedon, a petition presented to us for something on the ballot or something that has legality, of course, it has to be reviewed by the Board of Elections and things like that. There's nothing
No, but Mayor-
in this. This is just,
No, I'm just talking about the petition that was presented as it was presented tonight, not talking about a ballot issue, just the fact that a resident came to present and representing 119 people, and just what is the proper response from council to when our residents speak their opinion on a particular matter, when they do it in writing. That's all. Not anything to do with.
119, just like Dave, who has left the room, said, I was not, how many were given the full story, as the mayor just said? How many people, he says, well, that's not what I was told. And I said, well, now you're getting the truth. You're getting the full story. We had no intention of putting any holes in the racetrack. There's just going to be some striping, and it's going to be a commercial grade, movable hoop. That was my understanding. So if you have a question about something you're being told,
because I talked to them, and a lot of stuff wasn't disclosed. In fact, one of the things was the mayor won't talk to me. Mayor won't meet with me to discuss it. Go back 2 meetings ago. I have probably spent more time in that office. Mike knows, in second shift with that individual, probably more than anybody I have since I've been mayor. Okay? I even read in the record the email I had where it was asked, because I couldn't make the Sunday meeting, what do I tell the people that come down there? And the response was, and I can read it again in the record, was have them watch the live stream, okay? And if not, call me. And better yet, call your council members. But that wasn't told. It was just the opposite. I was painted this big picture that actually I got a political motive for the racetrack. Are you kidding me? Somebody asked, the week I was being portrayed that, I didn't even talk about it. You know why? I got so much good stuff going on. Mike's smiling back there. My job between personnel and what we got going, Fred's laughing over there as chairman of economic development. You guys know this. We got so much good stuff going on. That is like the smallest. I know it's important to the residents, so I'm not trying to downplay that, because maybe to those residents, that's number one. But a motive like that, that's all this is. Apart from that, I'm not worried about that. Anybody else have any? We're under council comments. It's, for me, I said it so many times, it's so disheartening. So disheartening. We got 100 and something people that won't even give me a chance to work with them.
Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Mary.
I have one last comment. What everyone seems to forget is that this is village property. It belongs to the village. The racetrack has used it. We've never had a problem.
Never
But it
charged.
belongs, and we've never charged. You go to another community like Macedonia, there would be a fee.
You know what one resident told me? I gotta rent the park for, what is it, $50, Jeff? I gotta rent the park for $50, but you're gonna let them for 4 hours a day on a Sunday? When I rent it, I gotta pay for the pavilion, $50, but they can go down there for free every Sunday. Oh, you're real fair, Mayor.
I had someone in
Do
Macedonia tell
everybody
me
know that?
tell me that we should start charging monthly fee if they want it all to themselves, or even back fees for the past 10 years. And I thought, that's something. That was recommended. But I'm just saying it's public property. And so we have to use it for the best of as many villagers as possible. I have nothing against the racetrack. They can keep using it on Sundays, whatever, but it doesn't belong to them. It's not just theirs.
Mr. Mayor,
And remember, we got comments publicly here
Mr. Mayor,
that said bad things are gonna happen.
Yeah.
And that right there was enough to really upset me. Because if people come up here and say bad things are gonna happen, and I ask them to quantify that, okay? If they say, well, we're just gonna leave, okay, but they can't quantify it, that's terrible. In this day and age, when we're all trying to get along and all try to work together, and you're gonna put that out there, I'm sad. Not sick, I'm just sad. Disappointed, sad.
Mr. Mayor?
This council and this administration is working hard to make this a better community, and we will continue to do that. Yes, Brett, I'm sorry.
I'm just, I didn't mean to blow up at the man, but when he stands up there and tells me that people make threats, what's going on nowadays, and I hear that kind of talk, I mean, that's something that sets me off pretty good. The park's for the kids. That park is up there for the kids. I mean, we can't give them a basketball hoop to play a little basketball. I mean, that basketball hoop's not gonna interfere one bit with that racetrack. Dave, you weren't here. He had people from other cities come up and speak that use that racetrack. We charge them nothing. I mean, we don't know who these people are coming in. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Joe.
there's a comment online from Lee Nielsen. She said, agree. The maximum number of people that they saw were 3 male adults. That was the maximum. They went on 3 separate occasions. One time the other 2 times there were only 2 people there.
And I'm just gonna say, simple thing is, Mayor, I just asked for cooperation. Even said, if it doesn't work out after the year, we'll revisit it. What more can you say to somebody?
Went out there on a Monday morning, and there were markings in the basketball.
That's right.
Period.
Dave, come up here and criticize us. And some of our residents got upset, which I don't blame them, criticized us for not fixing the basketball court, not fixing the tennis court. Shame on you. You didn't have the other side of the story either. That Valley Engineering has an inspector that overlooks the site, along with the EPA and the Ohio Department of Health. All of it. The 1,000 square foot building that's gonna go up. It'll be a big building permit. We're already getting tax dollars from the 30 people, approximately 30 people that are up there working. 21 days, they gotta pay us, 21 days of work, and we're already receiving it, because they already know they're gonna be there longer than that. About 10 months, 11 months to take down that whole building. Things are going good. Going good, so we won't get tied up in that.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Jennifer, keep us moving.
I would just
Yell at
like
me.
to say that we have spent more time and hours talking about racetrack and $5,000 for a basketball hoop than we did about $1 million deficit that we ended up with last year due to a miscalculation. 119 people are more upset about that. And with that, I'd like to introduce for suspension resolution number
No, hold on a minute.
2022.
I do want to, but we didn't have the deficit.
Well,
We
it's
didn't.
on the books, but it's not, it's
Yeah,
due,
we
it was
didn't have
due
it.
to an accounting error of the amount of debt we were taking out not being
Right,
calculated
right.
correctly.
Exactly.
So the good thing is,
But
it
I've
was
had-
an error that was fixed, and of course, the auditors and everybody knows.
Yeah, suspension, resolution number 2022-13, a resolution authorizing the mayor and the fiscal officer of the Walton Hills to enter into a contract with Specialized Construction Incorporated, Specialized, for the 2022 road repair program and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Second, vote on the motion. Vote on the resolution, I should say. Jennifer Allen,
Yes.
Mary Brenner Miller,
Yes.
Fred Nielsen,
Yes.
Raymond Whedon,
Yes.
Brian Spitznagle.
Yes.
Resolution 2022-13 passes. I got to get in the groove of being the,
Mr. Mayor,
Chairman. Oh, for suspension.
that was for
Okay.
suspension, so I'd like to ask for adoption of resolution 2022-13.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mary. Okay, vote on the adoption.
Yes.
Yes.
Jennifer Allen, Mary Brenner Miller,
Yes.
Fred Nielsen,
Yes.
Raymond Whedon,
Yes.
Brian Spitznagle.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 2022-13 passed under suspension. Item B, who would like to introduce that?
I will. Mr.
Go ahead, Mary.
I'd like to introduce, for suspension, Resolution 2022-14, a resolution authorizing the mayor and the fiscal officer of the Village of Walton Hills to enter into a contract with A&J Cement Contractors, Inc. for the 2022 concrete road repair program and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Who got it? Second, Jennifer Allen. Vote on the suspension. Jennifer Allen?
Yes.
Mary Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Fred Nielsen?
Yes.
Raymond Whedon?
Yes.
Brian Spitznagle?
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of Resolution 2022-14.
Second.
Second by Jennifer Allen. Vote on adoption. Jennifer Allen?
Yes.
Mary Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Fred Nielsen?
Yes.
Raymond Whedon?
Yes.
Brian Spitznagle?
Yes.
Okay,
Mayor Colgraf,
yes.
I'd like to introduce for suspension resolution number 2022-15, a resolution authorizing the mayor and the fiscal officer of the Village of Walton Hills to enter into a contract with Crossroads Asphalt Recycling, Inc. for the resurfacing of Hickory Drive, Tulip Lane, and Chestnut Drive and emergency.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Jennifer Allen. Vote on suspension. Jennifer Allen?
Yes.
Mary Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Fred Nielsen?
Yes.
Raymond Whedon?
Yes.
Brian Spitznagle?
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed.
Mayor Colgraf, I'd like to ask for adoption of resolution number 2022-15.
Second by Jennifer Allen. Vote on adoption. Jennifer Allen?
Yes.
Mary Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Fred Nielsen?
Yes.
Raymond Whedon?
Yes.
Brian Spitznagle?
Yes.
Okay, 2022-15 passed under suspension.
Mr. Mayor?
Item D.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to introduce for suspension a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor and declaring an emergency.
Second. Oh, very good.
Second, Mr. Whedon. Vote on suspension. Jennifer Allen?
Yes.
Mary Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Fred Nielsen?
Yes?
Raymond Whedon?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Fred Nielsen?
Yes.
Raymond Whedon?
Yes.
Brian Spitznagle?
Yes.
Item E.
Your turn, Brian.
Who'd like to introduce that?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to introduce for suspension, Resolution 2022-17, a resolution adopting the tax budget of the Village of Walton Hills, Ohio for the fiscal year of
Road repairs, what happens with road repairs, they go out for a bid. Normally, most of the time, we accept the lowest bid. We have to follow the legal protocol. They're examined by our engineer, opened by our engineer and our building department, and then it's just a matter of adopting them. So there, you know, you don't need a lot of discussion because the discussion was already made to go ahead with the project, and then you you put it out for bid, and then you award that bid according to the law. So there isn't a lot of discussion. Either you accept it or you don't, and if you don't pave that road for the year.
And Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
technically too, under an emergency, if something is not voted, for example, our road programs and the thing to the county, if it's not voted in under an emergency, it does not take effect for 30 days. So these are items that we need to get passed right away so the contractors can get paid, the county can get advised of our, it's our responsibility to have this in by middle of July, I think it is. So these have a time stamp on them, and that's why these were voted under an emergency.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Our estimated starting date for Sander Road project they have here, the company that we accepted, Crossroads, is July 1st. So
It's 2 weeks out.
it's 2 weeks.
And it's best to pave them when it's the warmest. As you know, the asphalt lays the best. The warmer it is, the better job. abatement of asbestos and industrial chemical waste, and the installation of groundwater monitoring program. After remediation and demolition, this site will be redeveloped as a modern distribution and manufacturing space with easy access to I-271 and I-480. They had to disclose what they were going to build there to acquire that 10 million too. The state likes to see the whole plan, okay? So, now you wonder, how can they put up a new building? The new building is going in the non-contaminated area, which is the 35 acres or 33 acres on our gateway corner where the parking lot was. So they, let's see. I think that's it. We'll make a motion, we do normally recess for July and August, which I think we'll do that, but at the same time, I think we're probably gonna have very busy Julys and August, but, just because of the development. I think we're gonna have to probably have some meetings, I know but we'll let everybody know. So if council is interested in, probably make a motion, huh, John, is that? Sure. But, yeah. If you want, I have nothing else under, yes. Bye, viewers.
I would just like to address Mr. Cummins and Mr. Washtalk. They had issues with, Mr. Cummins with his property and a couple other, Mr. Washtalk and the other resident with housing stock, in the village. And I drive around the village too, and I'm concerned also about some of our housing stock. I do believe something, I do know that sometimes we're bound, it gets in the process of the court and we're bound by the court's schedule, unfortunately.
Ticketed or whatever, or cited, and it has to go through the process, so. So, yeah, but no, has taken place.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I thought we already had in place at least one zoning, whereas if you didn't mow your lawn, let's say, and we mowed it for you, it goes on your property taxes. So we've got that in place. I just don't know if it's not being enforced, or we have to become more stringent, or we have to take a look at each property individually, or what. But, I mean, if they're not gonna mow the lawn, and we do it for them, it'll just go on their taxes.
Well,
We go ahead, Jennifer.
I was just gonna say, I think we need a lot more employees than.
I was just gonna say, it's unfortunate, it's
You know,
not like we have
to
a lawn
actually
care
go-
service
right.
in our service
But
department.
to actually go around,
Yeah,
just
no,
knowing
I
how far
understand.
stretched
I
Rob is
understand
already.
completely. They have other jobs to do.
Right.
And it's unfortunately, I'm even discussing this, but I know we have that on the books.
And we have cleaned up quite a few yards, and it has to go through the process. We have to get, if we don't get permission, then we have to go through the process to get the court to rule in our favor. And just so you know, we've been doing that. We have been doing that. So,
And Mr. Mayor, those were included on the property assessments.
Yes.
That we just
all
took care
the
of.
grass cutting we did, yeah. We passed that certain assessment every year of all the properties that we charge. Are you guys okay with allowing another comment, or you got comment? You gotta come up to the mic, Dave.
It has to be recorded and it's not
Yeah,
picking
and
up
I
if you
can't-
guys are
I
sitting
can't
in the
have some
back.
people and not others, and
I just wanted to mention that that house on my street, that vacant home, the maintenance company takes care of it.
I know exactly what house, we can't, if somebody, all we can do is enforce our zoning codes and our ordinances. If somebody wants to leave it vacant and they're maintaining it, they have a right to do that. You can't tell somebody, all we can do is, that's why I want to, I know exactly what house you're talking about.
Yeah, well, there's only one on our
You
whole
can't-
area there.
But we can't make somebody
We've
sell
made-
a house because they keep
A
it
couple
empty,
of people have made offers to buy the house.
but they don't have to sell it,
No, right, exactly, there you go.
but they have to maintain it.
Yeah, and they are doing that.
Well-
So I just making,
No, I appreciate
making it a
that.
point that, I see it happen. And they come up and they'll spend a couple of hours there.
Mr. Mayor,
Unfortunately, we got empty houses that aren't being maintained.
I was gonna-
Yeah,
That's what we're talking about.
yeah, right. I just want to make sure this is when you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Thank you.
that's what I was gonna mention, that some
Oh,
of them
no,
are, some of them are really bad, Dave. We've got some that are, the village had to go in and do the work and put it on their taxes, it goes on their tax, on their tax bill, so. I know what you're saying. We walked this village and first time I've seen it this bad.
Jeff, did you have something you wanted to say?
Alexander, 7312 Walton. I was gonna address what Mr. Washnick said. If the house is empty, I didn't know that until he clarified. I mean, tonight, this is the first time I heard about the $1 million error. If Ms. Allen could address that a little bit, what's it all about?
Mr. Cole, Mr.
Yeah,
Mayor?
go ahead.
Okay. Last year, our books ended technically with a $1 million deficit. It was because of an accounting error, though, in that the amount of debt we were taking out was not calculated correctly in there. So the state auditor is aware of it. I think because we had like a $1.5 or $2 million surplus the year before. I don't remember what it was, but they actually ended up washing each other out, but it had to do with the amount of debt that we were issuing, that we were taking out.
Was that error on our end?
Unfortunately, yes.
Mr. Mayor? Yeah, to go a step further, we don't do our books on a fiscal year basis. We do it January 1st to December 31st. So all of our projects, if we have, and it occurred with, I believe, Dunham Road.
Dunham Road.
Yeah.
The project, we got a bunch of money in before the project started, so it showed a big surplus at the end of one year.
That was the end of 2020,
Yes, and then at the end of the other year,
2021.
exactly, when all that money was paid out, we should have shown a bigger deficit than what we did. The fiscal officer caught it in January or February, something like that. She caught it pretty much right away, but she ended up using the net amount of money as opposed to the gross amount of money. But that's how our books run. If you were to look at what year was that, 21 or 20?
2020.
You'd say, wow, we're doing really good, and then if you look at our books and the next you go, wow, we're doing really bad, but it has to net each other out, and that's, I've always said, can't we show on our book somehow, like corporations do, net
No.
special items, and, had this project not taken place, this is what our books would look like,
Yes.
and represent it that way. Along with representing it, obviously, the way we must do.
Right.
So people, residents, don't fly off the handle and say, oh my God, they lost $1 million. Well, we really didn't. It's just the way it accounts for it.
It was
We'd have made the
actually,
paper if we lost $1
Yeah.
million.
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
actually, I want to say, like $1,042,000 that we were over at the end of 2020 because, and we were actually only over 42,000 because that 1 million was earmarked towards the Dunham Road project. So that's how it it all flushed out, and the auditors went through all of it, and they went through it with us and stuff too. But yes, it was because of the surplus in 2020 and the deficit in 2020, at the end of 2021.
Clerical error, the mayor's not going to the Bahamas.
Mr. Mayor,
Was it, but just to make something clear, so our fiscal officer actually caught it. She made a mistake and caught it. Sent everybody on this day the email at the time explaining it. And we talked about it in COW meetings here. So you can go back and look. And you even discussed it in our finance meeting, and as recent as the finance meeting we had
Just last week.
just last week. So it isn't, it's not, and it won't be the last one. Won't be the first.
We also had a finance
And
meeting
it wasn't
on,
the first, I can tell you that. The thing is, no money ever comes up missing, okay? I mean, it usually is an accounting. If it comes up missing, well, then there's a problem because everything's accounted for. So it just doesn't evaporate. It went somewhere if it was that, and the auditors would, so
it
was an accounting error, and it was addressed, and
it was
fixed.
discussed at great length at the finance meeting of March 8th, which you could go back and see, and that meeting
Yeah.
would have started at 5:30. But that was March 8th of this year, after the end of the first quarter.
Mr. Mayor,
And our audits are all public record too. Once they audit us every 2 years, they give it, and Dave, you know this, they give a report, and then they post them. So all your audits are, there's nothing that when it comes to, the state audits us, it becomes public record. That's the third party who watching the purse strings here.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
One last comment on that is that in my industry, I work with contractors. They use a percentage of completion type
Yeah.
construction. It's a reviewed statement, let's say. And they'll have a work in progress right on the finance statement, the financial, along with the notes and such. Because what it does is you can start a project in June and go into the next June. So if your year end is 12/31/2022, and you just have a cutoff, it's easier to understand that. These kind of financials, it starts one year, ends one year, and if you've got a project and you've got monies, it kind of throws the walkers into it. When you have a percentage of completion financial, which we don't here, it would be easier to read, and probably something like that would never have appeared. So it all got resolved, but, when you first see it straight out, you think something happened, which it really didn't. It was a presentation error. That's how I look at it.
That was the biggest project that the village ever did, was Dunham Road. But it won't be. It won't be. That Board redevelopment will be the biggest project that this village will ever be involved in. In fact, that's one of the biggest demolition projects taking place right now. Us getting the 10 million, and I say it is us, I mean, even though it's them, but what happens to them good up there, it's good for us, and that you'll understand that soon. But that's a big deal, getting that $10 million for that project. That whole thing's coming down. It was coming down anyways, but it's even better. Because now the state's saying, hey, we just don't want you to clean it up, we want you to redevelop it. So, what else we got? Anybody have anything else they want to share before I ask for a motion? If you guys, it's up to council what you want to do. You want to make a motion to recess for July and August, and if we do need a special meeting, I'll do my best to work when we can be there, only because I know a lot of everybody here plan their vacation after, with the intention that we might be recessing in July and August.
Mr. Mayor,
So their work schedule. Yes.
I'd like to
Jennifer.
make a motion that we recess for July and August unless otherwise is necessary.
Is there a second? Second by Mary Brenner Miller. Vote on the motion. Jennifer Allen?
Yes.
Mary Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Fred Nielsen?
Yes.
Raymond Whedon?
Yes.
Brian Spitznagle?
Yes.
Okay. Any other business, old or new, before we ask for adjournment?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for adjournment.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mary's quick to the draw tonight, right? Jennifer Allen?
Yes.
Mary Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Fred Nielsen?
Yes.
Raymond Whedon?
Yes.
Brian Spitznagel.
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned at 8:44.
Have a good Fourth of July, everybody. Yes, yes, sir. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
same, we need some good hot weather. We're getting it this week, right?
Supposed to rain, it looks a little dark out there.
Brian, can you come here for a second?
I gotta go see if my
I'd just like you to see what this is gonna do.
Well, that goes wonders. If you can't take a project into an additional area, it's hard to explain.
Good night.
So it looks like we're recording, but it's not streaming. I mean, we're still getting that buffering over here, but it can all stop. It's just been terrible.
I saw the swirling.
But I wanted
We'll
to
have to
see
call,
that.
yeah, we'll have to
It
call
kept
Sue.
saying too, hopefully he can come back to these analytics on it.
Yeah.
It kept saying no data and that the stream was too weak. Mary wanted to talk to you about potpourri.
Okay.